The holidays are quickly approaching. Let's stitch this Joy's greeting card to give to someone special over the holidays or display it with the rest of our holiday decor. Now let's get started. After you transfer your design to your card or paper, lightly trace the elements of the pattern that make you go a little cross-eyed. To learn how to transfer your pattern, click on the top right-hand corner or check out the video description for a tutorial. Make your pencil markings light to avoid smudging, but the thread will cover most of it. Let's get started. Here's a quick reference of the stitching order. The whipped running stitch portion will require 2 needles. Base will be backstitched using 6 strands, folded over to equal 12. The working whipping thread will be 6 strands. To fill in the letters, you will need to backstitch, then whip that backstitch 1 line at a time. The lines are pretty tight, making it difficult to backstitch everything, then going back to whip the backstitches. So let's go ahead and backstitch our first line. When you're done, go ahead and bring your thread back to the front to avoid it getting tangled. Now for the whipping. Come up through one end of your backstitch and go below the first stitch. Then go across, then below the next stitch. Continue in this pattern to create a candy cane swirl effect. It's important to be consistent in both your direction of your thread and where to start. Since I began my whipping on the right, when I'm done whipping a line, I have to cross over and start the next line on the right. Again, I hope that makes sense. Here you can see how ununiform the first 4 lines look. I wasn't being consistent on my starting location. Now this is all based on personal preference, feel free to experiment. Now we're moving on to lining the inner shape of the letters. This will be done using 2 strands folded over to equal 4. We will be using backstitch to go all around the shape. Make sure you secure your end threads when you come to an end of your thread or switching. Now to this adorable little starburst. It's made up of 4 straight stitches, so simple but adorable. The outline of the letters will be stitched using stem stitch. If you are embroidering paper, you can use either 6 or 12 strands. For wood, I highly recommend only using 6, and that's because you will have to enlarge the drilling bit size, causing the holes to overlap. With either thread count, it will look beautiful. Stem stitch is pretty simple once you get the hang of it. You simply connect your odd holes together and your evens together working backwards. So, start at hole 1, going down hole 3, come up hole 4, back down hole 2. Please follow your pattern guide for direction of the curves. I'll show here how the curves of the J are stitched, so you can have an idea of what the instructions are talking about. It's hard for me to verbally explain how to do this, which way to stitch for smooth curves. Over time, I've gained experience and it just comes naturally to me. Here you have a comparison of the 12 strands versus the 6. The string of lights is made up using DMC metallic thread, one strand folded over to equal 2, stitching it in backstitch. Come up through a hole, string a bead, then go back down the same hole. Adjust the bead so you see it facing forward. Now, if you don't have beads or don't want to use beads, you can also create this by using French knots. Now, to do French knots, you come up a hole, wrap your thread around the needle twice, and then go back down the same hole. Hold onto your thread to add tension. And there you go. Now, covering your stitches is completely optional. All you need to do is cut a piece of paper slightly smaller than your card. You only need to dab glue on the corners. You don't need to lay glue down on the entire piece. Let it dry and you're done. Well, that's it for this project. I hope you really enjoy stitching up your holiday joy card. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I'll be sure to answer them. Please like and subscribe, and thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Have a good one.